Let's talk about the best decks for the new Series 5 card Lin Lie and Marvel Snap and whether or not he's worth your 6,000 tokens. Hey, what's up everybody? Kicker of Elves here. Hope y'all are having a fantastic day wherever you're at. Lin Lie Iron Fist is the latest Series 5 card released in Marvel Snap. He is a 2/2 on reveal, add the Sword of Fuxi to another location. The Sword of Fuxi is an ongoing that says if Lin Lie Iron Fist is here, he has +7 power. So if you meet his condition, this card effectively plays for a 2/11 that takes up 2 spaces. Pretty good stats. Now, this card right out of the gate, in my testing of it, been playing a bunch of them this afternoon and evening, I love this card. I think this is very strong in terms of the decks it wants to go in, but it does not have a wide field of applicability. If you compare him to a card like Merlin, like Iron Patriot, even a card like, let's say, Gwenpool, just throwing another thing out there, those are cards that can go into multiple deck archetypes. Look at Shu Lao that's been out this, running rampant this past week and a half. Those cards go into a bunch of different decks. Lin Lie only goes into, at least right now, a narrow selection of decks. But if you are a fan of those lists, and we'll talk about those decks, the best decks for Lin Lie right now in just a moment, he is, in my opinion, a pickup. This is a 4 out of 5 star card for me right now. Again, this is still early. Might end up being even higher or lower on him. But again, this is not a card I say everybody's got to rush to get out. If you are a fan of move many lists or move bounce lists, this card feels fun in those lists and feels like a nice flex piece. But even in those situations, he is not essential. If you're strapped for tokens right now and you're looking and you think like, oh, Fing Fang Foom looks cool. I've seen some of the data mines for February and March. I've only got 12k tokens. I want to try and save a little bit. Then maybe this isn't a card you rush out to get. But if you've been playing those Iris or Cougar style move many lists with Hydra Stomper and Batroc and all of those, and you love those lists, that's your main list to climb, I think it's worth it. I think this is, again, 4 out of 5 stars. That's my review. I think this card is freaking awesome. But time will tell if this is a personal flavor or if this is actually a must-have sort of card. In my opinion, again, if you like move bounce, if you like move many lists, you should pick up Lin Lie provided you are not extremely strapped for resources and not missing other key cards. So let's dive into a couple decks so you can take Lin Lie out into the ladder and have a lot of fun. Okay, let's start things out. I think this is the current best home for Lin Lie Iron Fist right now. This is a variation on the move many list. In some discussions with Iris and Cougar, who are probably the 2 best players in the world at this kind of deck, it arrived at cutting miles for Prowler. Now, I'm a bit of a Prowler diehard here, but we'll talk about another variation on this list here. But what this list is trying to do is do the classic Hydra Stomper, Madam Web, Sam Wilson bouncing his shield back and forth between him and Kraven, Spider-Punk, Hellion, Juggernaut, steal a location type thing. Batroc gets very big. So what does Lin Lie add this to? What are you getting from Lin Lie that you're not just getting from a Miles, for example, or from a Silk? Well, this list, much like if you were playing a lot in the November 2025 season when Human Torch was the best card in the game, that move list, the ethos of what that deck wanted to do was get a giant Human Torch, have one location so locked up with points that your opponent's just saying, I'm going to ignore that one, I'm going to focus on these other 2, and then steal a location with the Juggernaut. I feel this list right now is the best list at doing those, like that sort of play line. Win one location with points, whether they are just ignoring it or they're not expecting how many points are going to go in there, steal another location with Juggernaut. And what Lin Lie does that feels so nice in this kind of list is that he adds basically another side quest. Universally, you want to be playing Hellion out on turn 5 and then rearranging all your cards so you can say, okay, I'm going to try to win this location with points. I'm going to move my Kraven and then my Lin Lie over here, and then my other location that's got the Hydra Stomper in here, I'm going to steal that with a Juggernaut. Just tossing some stuff out, for example. But sometimes you're not drawing into Sam Wilson. Sometimes you're not drawing into Kraven. Sometimes you don't have your Spider-Punk. You're not always going to have all these key pieces, and Lin Lie ends up being a nice consistency piece. You can move the Sword of Fuxi and Lin Lie into the Hellion location along with, let's say, a Kraven or a Spider-Punk. That's a huge spike in power. You're moving like 20-ish power, counting the Afflict in there just from that play alone, and your opponent's got to account for that. They also don't know, are they going to sneak a Cosmo in there? The turn 5 Hellion play is going to shake up the board state so much. And then that's not even to talk about your potential for Prowler skills. If you can play the Prowler skill, I forget what it's called, Vibroshock Gauntlets, that gives you the extra energy next turn. If you can get these skills for free, which is very easy with Prowler because you're moving stuff around a ton, and have 7 energy on turn 6, you can do Juggernaut plus Cosmo, Juggernaut plus Hydra Stomper, in addition to moving cards around with Hellion. It feels incredible. I think Lin Lie is fantastic in this list. This has been my favorite, my personal version of this. I will say I did talk to Cougar earlier today and was asking for his opinions on it. Cougar, you probably know, is the player who won the Golden Gauntlet 3. He came in second place at Snowball Showdown, running what is effectively a gimped version of this list because of the deck building restrictions. He didn't want to freaking play Shulao. He had to. He had to play Hellion, and he still came in freaking second. He is an absolutely incredible player, really nice guy. If you're not following him on Twitch, make sure after the video you go follow Cougar over on Twitch. Great content, some of the most fun streams you can see. But anyway, enough Cougar glazing, at least for now. He had said that his preferred version of this list actually included, instead of Prowler, Miles, and swapping in Silk for Lin Lie. So if you're looking at this, you like the idea of the list I'm talking about. I've covered this list on the channel before, like a week and change ago as a deck guide, but you're like, man, like this all sounds cool, but I can't splurge to get Lin Lie right now. I don't have Prowler. You can definitely sub in Silk and Miles and still largely achieve this deck's game plan. For me personally, sometimes I wish I could just like tell Silk to just sit still, damn it, on the last turn of the game. I want to have, when I'm moving everything around, sometimes Silk bouncing around can be nice spikes in power. Other times it can sort of scam you. And Miles, for me, I guess I like Lin Lie's side quests more than Miles. Miles feels like a great piece to play behind my Juggernaut to like steal the Juggernaut location. Lin Lie for me is another way to just make sure that Hellion move, or just have that big move at the end of the game, then try to steal a location with Juggernaut, is a lot better. I often find that it's easier for me to steal a location with Juggernaut without a ton of extra supporting power. I can just play a Ghost Spider, or just like a random, like a Craven I didn't get earlier behind him to help get the additional power that I need. Or if I see, oh, I can't go for a Juggernaut endgame, that lets me plan things accordingly, versus like if I don't feel comfortable like winning with the Hellion maneuver, where it's like, okay, I need to move points over here, then oftentimes I feel like this deck falls apart a bit. Overall, fantastic list. Having a ton of fun with this. I went up like 100 ranks. I started when I was playing this list at like rank 565 in the world, and I went up to like 450 in the span of like 20 minutes of playing on my phone. So really powerful stuff here. Another version of this, this is the pure Iris version of the list. She is a hardcore things first steps gamer. She's one of the best freaking players on ladder, period. This is very much her style of list. Iris is built different. I am not a thing first steps gamer. I'm almost never picking him over Hellion. This is more of a personal choice. She's had a ton of success with this exact version of the list, and right now she is running. I don't even have Lin Lie in here. That just shows you that shows you how much I was tweaking with it. Instead of Miles, she has put the card Lin Lie in there right now, but she doesn't feel sold on it either. I spoke to her about this and asked, what's her early thoughts on the card, and she was thinking like, hey, the board clog space isn't doing it for me right now. I feel like I'm always able to fill up a thing for steps location without Lin Lie. But so both those players not huge on this right now. So this is not essential. You can probably swap this out for Miles if you don't have it, but this is another great home for Lin Lie, and I love this card. And yeah, if you are built to be a thing for steps gamer, absolutely try this list. It is tried and true. It is basically another tech card, which can be very valuable in this metagame. But, and the elephant in the room in here, you might be asking, well, what do these decks do against Shulao? These decks actually have a pretty good matchup into the turn 6 play if you are able to do Juggernaut Cosmo. What you're able to do, because those decks are often throwing priority, and they want to play Shulao in turn 6. If you get your Cosmo down, and then Juggernaut, it's like it's only like a 33% chance if they're drawing perfectly for their Shulao to trigger, because you can Juggernaut it away. They're either going to accidentally play it into the Cosmo lane, or if they play it into a different lane, you're Juggernauting it over there. I've enjoyed this. I've stolen 8 cubes off of cocky Shulao players doing that exact play line, and you can do the same. So, okay, talking about these move menu lists, maybe you're just like, yeah, this is not my sort of thing. I don't like this very much. Where else can he go? Well, the other place, and this needs more experimentation, is move bounce. You've heard me talk about move bounce and joke about how for a while, like when Human Torch was a one cost, this was like the classic deck that's extremely prevalent for like the top 0.10% of players. There was a long time where like decks of the week videos are always like move bounce, it's crazy, but most players were just never really dealing with it. With the advent of Lin Lie, move bounce can have a bit of a comeback potentially because he's on reveal, so he's making the Sword of Fuxi multiple times, and you don't even have to move him. If you're getting your bounce cards, if you're getting your Ghost Spider, and you've moved Dagger around, you want to bounce back Ghost Spider and Iron Fist, plan to put him in the Lin Lie location because you can just play him after into the Sword of Fuxi's location. You don't have to move him in there. You can save your moves for cards like Dagger, like Human Torch, or even copying that. You can still just play him down in that location. Also nice towards the end, just getting some extra bodies on the board to help with, let's say, a Sage play as well. Sage can be a huge amount of power in here if you copying or bouncing her. I will say, if the reason that you don't like the move many lists that we cover, the lists like Gym Class Heroes from the Iris perspective, I think First Steps, if you don't like these lists because there's too many moving pieces, then I would say don't even try move bounce. This is truly a bizarre deck in terms of the thing it's asking you to do. Sizer played this list for forever. It can be very powerful, but more so than any other list that we'll talk about probably for quite some time, this is one you have to sit down and say, I'm committed to learning this, and I'm going to just try to make this work. I'm going to take some of the L's early. You're going to take this into Conquest and just practice with it. Don't expect it to just make perfect sense right away, but it can be very rewarding. The last place in the area, this is maybe a little bit cope for me because I loved the Human Torch move lists back in the day. This can be another perfect card to go into the Human Torch move. In this situation, we have cut Spider-Punk. I don't know if that's the right choice here, but what he's doing is, because we're doing the Heimdall, because we have the Hellion, the Cloak, there are plenty of ways to, similar to the Iris and Cougar move many style list that we talked about, my Prowler version being my personal favorite. I seem to be of those two, neither of them are big on Prowler. I'm huge on Prowler. I love getting that 7 energy going to turn 6. So that's my personal spin on it. I'm just a Prowler diehard, I guess. But this is another way, Lin Lie offering another place to just become an additional move scaler. It's a little bit not easier than Spider-Punk, but you don't have to just be dragging it around. It's not reliant on other cards being there or other enemy cards there. And also, like, you can get a little scam with the Heimdall play where you're moving Lin Lie into the Street of Fuxi's location, and then you're just making sure that Human Torch and Dagger, or Human Torch or Dagger or Craven are in different locations. Can be a ton of power. Just because Human Torch got nerfed, I feel like this deck sort of dropped off the face of the earth. I think this is a good reason to pick this back up. These are a lot of lower series cards. If you don't have Sparky or something like that, you didn't pick him up after he got nerfed, you can easily throw in Iron Fist in here. I believe in the Snap Fan card preview, Derek actually had Iron Fist in Sparky's place. Maybe you're not loving Cosmo, you can bring back Spider-Punk. A lot of different ways to go. So all in all, I love Lin Lie. I think he is a 4 out of 5 star card for me, but he's really narrow in his application. So unless you are in love with those kind of lists and want a little change up in there, I don't think you need to pick this card up. Give it some time. Maybe someone makes a broken Aurora list or does some ongoing stuff. Those aren't really my wheelhouses, but there's definitely some potential. If you want more in-depth card reviews, hard-hitting deck guides, best decks for specific limited time modes right as soon as they're available, anything that you need to get a better rank in Marvel Snap, you're already in the right place in the Kicker Evolves channel. Hit that subscribe button. We are inches away from hitting our 1,000 subscriber goal, and that's just incredible. Been doing this for less than 3 months, and the support from y'all has been frankly overwhelming, and just how positive it is. Just want to say thank you to everybody watching the video right now, whether you're subscribed or not. It really means a lot. I hope you're getting value out of these. Leave a comment, like the video, let me know. Are you going to pick up this card? If you have a specific question about a list he might go in, fire away. I engage and reply to pretty much every comment as long as you're not being rude or outright trolling me. And yeah, interesting card. Not sure if this is going to be the Sholau meta breaker, but the list that he goes in do have some decent coin tosses against the Red Dragon of Pain. Thank you all again so much for watching. I'm Kicker of Elves, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.